This netizen, in order to fire, even don't want his life. He is going to give the whole network live jumping. Netizens advised him not to jump. He didn't listen to him. Directly from the 6th floor jumped down. The result smashed on a passerby, smashed the passerby to death. But he himself was unharmed. He dared to do so because he knew he would not die. Just a few days ago, all humans received a text message that clearly indicated the time of death for each person. Everyone had thought it was a prank, but one woman had only 2 minutes left to live, and she had unplugged all the electricity around her, and tightened the water valves to get away from all danger. But just as she went to push a can, the cabinet came crashing down and killed her. The news was all over the story, and now everyone believed it. The text message was sent by a little girl. Her name was Aya. She was the daughter of God. She sent this text message because this God was such an asshole. He set up a lot of particularly outrageous laws, such as when the bread falls on the floor, it must be the side with the jam that hits the floor. It's always the freshly washed plate that breaks, and when you're standing in line in the supermarket, it's always the other line that moves faster. He spends his days indulging in screwing over humans, only for this to be discovered one day by Aya, who accuses her father of not deserving it, and he storms out in a rage. Elijah felt that mankind didn't deserve such a bad God and she wanted to overthrow her father. Her brother Jesus told her that she could overthrow her father's rule in one fell swoop if she gathered 6 disciples and wrote a super New Testament for them so that the world would no longer believe in God. Elijah secretly sent out the time of mankind's death while his father slept. The first disciple that Elijah found was a stunningly beautiful woman, and whenever she went out, all eyes were on her. However, this stunning beauty was extremely unsure of herself because she was missing an arm. A car accident had turned her into a one-armed girl. From then on, she became autistic and didn't want to reach out to anyone until she met Aya. In order to get the woman to open up, he created a dream just for her. In the dream, the woman saw her other hand, which she had longed for, dancing like a dancer. The woman finally unraveled her heart and faced life head-on, and she became the first disciple of Eve. In order to stop Aya from overthrowing himself, God the Father came to earth by drilling a washing machine specifically. But he was treated as a pervert by others just after he came out. Without his divine power, God is no different from an ordinary man. In order to pick up a bite to eat, he is beaten up by street punks, and he has to accept the strange obstacles he once put up for mankind. He runs to the church to beg for food, and ends up getting beat up by the people next to him for cutting in line. And a group of people just beat God up. Luckily, Jesus' congregation was kind enough to give him a bowl of porridge, but instead of being grateful, God told the congregation that Jesus was his son, while God was getting his ass kicked. Elijah had managed to gather 5 disciples, and as they were about to gather the last one, God finally caught up with Elijah, and he yelled at him to kill him. But now God was just an ordinary man in front of Elijah. After getting rid of God, Elijah successfully met the last disciple. This little boy had only 5 days left to live and his only wish was to become a girl. Before he didn't dare because he was afraid of what people would think, but now he met Elijah. He can't change his gender, but it can strengthen his heart and make him brave enough to be himself. With E's encouragement, he puts on women's clothes and struts around the school. His classmates look at him like a freak, but he doesn't care at all. On the last day of the boy's life, Elijah gathered all the disciples and they were to walk with the boy on his last journey together. But just then, Elijah's mom happened to be cleaning God's room, and to make it easier, she unplugged the power. Now everyone's lives changed. A plane went out of control and flew straight at them. If the plane crashed, everyone would die. Just in the nick of time, the mother had cleaned the room and plugged the power back in. And at the computer's prompting, she clicked on reboot, and instead of crashing down, the plane flew back up over their heads. As the computer rebooted, the countdown to people's deaths all disappeared. Aya knew it was all her mother's doing. Without God's control, her mother operated the computer, and she recreated a new world for mankind, where the sky was no longer azure blue, but colorful flowers. Removing gravity, mankind can lie flat on the building, and the bottom of the sea has become a paradise for people to swim. Pregnancy is no longer for women, but for men too. In this new world, there is only one doctrine that people believe in, and that is the entirety of E's supernatural New Testament.